Okay, yeah. Page May, June 2020, paper 1, variant 3. Okay. Question 1. Diagram 1 shows a solid rectangular sided block. Diagram 2 shows the same block. What is the volume of the block? How can I measure the volume of this block? Can someone help me out? Ah, how can I measure the volume of this block? Hmm. Any ideas? Volume is how can I measure the volume? Volume is length times width times height. صح? Length times width times height. From this diagram, how can I find the length and the width and the height? It's quite easy. For example, let me help you out. The length would be from 4 to 11. Now, this is the length from 4 to 11. So the length would be 11 minus 4, which is 7. This is the length. The width would be 15 to 21. To 21 minus 15 is 6. And the height from 1 to 5, so 5 minus 1 is 4. Uh, yes, so 7 times 6 times 4 is 168. 168. Okay? ماشي. Next question. Speed time graph. How far does the object travel at constant speed? يلا. The only constant speed, or the only part of constant speed is from 5 seconds all the way to 15 seconds. How far does the distance traveled is the area under the graph. Area under the graph. Area under the graph is an area of a rectangle. Length is 10 and the width is 5. So 10 times 5 is 50. Quite easy. Which statement about acceleration is correct? Which statement about the acceleration is correct? It's related to the changing speed of an object. Uh, Question 4, 2 metal blocks. Yalla, if you have any problems, please say so. Okay. 2 metal blocks P and Q have identical dimensions. Identical dimensions. Which statement about P and Q is correct? If they have identical dimensions, then they have the same length, width, and height, and they have the same volume. They have equal volumes. But in this case, they have different weights. Why? Because P has a weight of 2 newtons, Q has a weight of 3 newtons. Any questions? Which row gives the correct weight and for the mass shown? Weight equals mg. mg. So basically, you have to multiply the mass times 10, or 9.8 times 10, which would be 20. Yes. Okay. 10 times 10. No, this is wrong. 10 times. No, they will all be wrong. The only correct answer would be A. A rectangular gymnasium is 50 meters long, 25 meters wide, 8 meters high. The density of the air is 1.2 kilograms. What is the best estimate of the mass of air? How can I find the mass? How can I find the mass? Density equals density equals mass over volume. So mass equals density times volume. Well, this is easy. Density is 1.2 times the volume, which is 50 times 25 times 8. Yeah, can someone calculate it for me? I guess it would be around 12,000. Okay. Can I repeat question 5? Yes, I can repeat question 5. Which row gives the correct weight? Weight equals mg. So basically, you need to multiply the mass by 10, or it's 9.8. I know it's 9.8, but this is an old question. So we used to multiply it by 10. Okay, he said that the value of G is 10. So mass, 2 times 10 is 20. So this is correct. 10 times 10 should be 100. This is wrong. 10 times 10, again, 100. 20 times 10 should be 200, which is wrong. Okay. The weight, okay, on Earth has to be greater than the mass. You can't have the weight less than the mass. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, question 7. Diagram shows two of the three vertical forces acting on the hot air balloon. And it's now moving upwards at a constant speed. It's moving upwards at a constant speed. What's the air resistance? What is the air resistance? Huh. How can I find the air resistance? And what's the direction of the air resistance? Huh. What is the direction of the air resistance? Someone is saying that it should be upwards. Okay, most of you are actually saying that you want to choose, most of you want to choose B. Why? Because well, air resistance should be upwards. In this case, it's wrong, actually. It's not upwards. Why is it not upwards? This hot air balloon is moving, so كده, it's moving upwards. The hot air balloon is moving. This is the direction of the motion. This is the direction of the motion. When you have the direction of the motion upwards, the air resistance has to be opposite to the direction of the motion. The air resistance it must be downwards. The air resistance cannot be upwards. The air resistance cannot be in the same direction of the motion. If you have a car, for example, that's moving to the left, the air resistance has to be to the right. Yes, that's it. Okay. The air resistance has to oppose the motion. Okay. It resists, literally. That's why we call it resistance. Okay. It resists the motion. So if this hot air balloon is moving upwards, the air resistance has to be downwards. Definitely. It has to be downwards. When the air resistance is downwards, okay, it has to be 300 newtons downwards. Why? Because upward forces have to be equal to the downward forces for the hot air balloon to move in a constant speed. Okay, constant speed. I'm sorry, A. I meant A. Okay, okay. Which statement? Hmm, yeah. Which statement about the moment of a force is not correct? Which statement about the moment of a force is not correct? Hmm. If an object is balanced about a pivot, the resultant moment on the object must be zero. Okay, this is correct. We want the wrong answer. We want the wrong answer. Okay, so this is correct. The moment of the force, okay, is a measure of its turning effect. Yes, this is correct. The moment of the force is equal to the force times the perpendicular distance from the point. Okay, the moment of the force, okay, about the point increases when the perpendicular distance of the force from the point decreases. No, okay, when it increases. So this is the incorrect answer. Yes, thank you for saying that it is D. Yes, correct. Um, hmm. A mass bounces up and down. Hey, I like this question. When the mass bounces up and down, at which point does the mass have the least gravitational potential energy? Okay. And at which point is the most elastic energy stored in the spring? The least the least gravitational potential energy. Okay. And the most elastic potential energy. It's a really interesting question. Okay. Some of you are saying C, some of you are saying D. Hmm, okay. Actually, C is wrong. Why is C wrong? Because while it's still moving upwards, it's not the most elastic energy. Okay. When it is at the lowest point, okay, when it's extended, when it's fully extended, when it's fully extended, it has the most the most elastic potential energy. And at the same time, it has the least gravitational potential energy. Why does it have the least gravitational potential energy? Because it's the closest to the ground. When it's the closest to the floor or to the ground, it has the least gravitational potential energy. So at the lowest point, it has the least GPE, and it would also have the most elastic potential energy. Why? Because it is extended, okay, the most at this point. Okay, it's extended. The longest extension, okay, would be at this point. Okay, any questions? Which energy resource stores kinetic energy? Okay, stores kinetic energy. Hmm. Coal? No. Nuclear fission? Nope. Solar? Definitely the wind, because the wind is moving. Okay. Okay. We solved this question before. Let's solve it again. Um, a man takes an escalator and a lift. Okay. The escalator takes 20 seconds. The escalator takes 20 seconds to move between two floors. The useful work done is W and the power developed is P. Okay, again, work done is W, the power is P, and time is 20 seconds. Time is 20 seconds. The lift takes 30 seconds. And it moves between the same two floors. Moves between the same two floors. The same man is being lifted, okay? The same distance. So the same weight, the same force, moves the same distance. So the same work done is being, okay? The same work done is applied. The escalator and the lift. Why the same work done? Again, because he's the same man and he's moved up the same distance. So basically, the same work done is being applied. What about the power? Okay, is the power the same? No, the power is not the same. Why? Because the time is different. Time is different. Hmm. When you increase the time, what happens to the power? The power, okay, the power decreases. When you increase the time, what happens to the power? The power decreases. So it has to be C because the work done is the same, but the power, okay, is less. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Any questions? Please, Shabab, do not hesitate to ask. Question 12. On which labeled surface should the block rest to produce the smallest pressure? Again, to produce the smallest pressure, it should rest on the largest surface area. Yes, on P has the largest surface area. Hmm. P and R are different. Okay, R has a smaller surface area. P is 80 times 40. P is 80 times 40, while R is 80 times 20. Yeah, this question is cancelled. خلاص, manometers and barometers have been removed. Okay, what is 11? Question 11. 11 is C. Okay, 11 is C. Same work done, but the power is less. Hmm. Yeah, what's the correct particle diagram for a solid? Hmm. Definitely, يعني, a solid is B. So, quite obvious. Hmm. A sealed box contains a fixed mass of gas. Fixed mass of gas, which action results in each molecule of the gas colliding with the walls less frequently, okay? Less frequently and with a smaller force. Less frequently and with a smaller force, decreasing, hmm, decreasing, yes, decreasing the temperature. That is correct. Decre Again, with a smaller force means that we will decrease the kinetic energy. Okay, the kinetic energy decreases. They move slower. Yes. Okay, decrease the temperature of the gas. This is correct. Again, thermometers have been removed. Question 16 is removed. Okay, question 16 is removed. Yeah, question 17. The same quantity of thermal energy is given to each block. Um, this question also, and it has to do with the thermal capacity. It's kind of removed, but we can solve it. Yeah, it's kind of removed, but you can solve it. Okay. Which which block shows the greatest rise in temperature? Which block shows the greatest rise in temperature? If you give them all the same amount of energy, yes, A would experience the greatest rise in temperature. Why? Because it's the smallest block. If you, for example, give them all 1,000 joules of heat energy, then A, okay, the temperature of A would increase the most. Why? Because it's the smallest block, and that's it. Okay, it is the smallest block, so it would experience the highest temperature change. Okay, yeah. A gas is cooled so that its molecules move more slowly. Okay, and they come closer together. Which process is being described? Hmm. Gas is cooled. When the gas cools, what happens? This is when a gas cools. What do we call this process? Huh? Yes, it is B, condensation. It's B, not C. Freeze gas. Again, when the gas cools, it condenses. Yeah. Diagram shows a vacuum flask. Which methods of heat loss are reduced by the vacuum? Methods of heat loss that are reduced by the vacuum. So, vacuum, we know that it cannot. Yes, in the vacuum, conduction and convection cannot occur in the vacuum. Yes, conduction and convection. You cannot prevent radiation. You cannot prevent radiation in vacuum. Why? Because the radiation, infrared radiation, it's the only way in which we can um transfer heat in the vacuum by infrared radiation. So basically, vacuum can stop, okay, it can stop the conduction convection. Why? Because there are no molecules in the vacuum. Hmm. Okay, we have some containers, and these containers are left for 2 minutes. Which container has the highest temperature? Okay, after 2 minutes, which container would have the highest temperature? Yes, the shiny white sides. Why the shiny white sides? Because um, it's the worst emitter. So in this case, we would call it the worst emitter. So to not give off infrared radiation. Oh, it wouldn't give off too much infrared radiation. Okay. Yep. Any questions? Yep. This question has been repeated too many times. The amplitude should be 3 and the wavelength should be 8. One of the easiest questions we have. Hmm. Okay. Waves travel more quickly on the surface of the water than on when the water is deep. They travel more quickly when the water is deep. Which region is the deepest region? A, B, C, or D? Which region is the deepest? Hmm. Yes, it should be. Yes, it has to be C. Why does it have to be C? Because the wavelength has increased. The wavelength has increased. Yes, the wavelength is increasing in C. So when the wavelength increases, the speed increases, okay, and the water is deeper. When the water is deeper, the wavelength increases and the speed increases. Hmm. What's the angle of reflection? What is the angle of reflection? Hmm. Can someone say A? Is the answer A? Hmm. The answer cannot be A. Why can't the answer be A? Because the angle has to be with the normal. How would I find the angle? Yes, how would I find the angle with the normal? 90 minus 35, which would be 55. Okay, the angle with the normal, the angle of incidence is the same as the angle of reflection. 90 minus 35. Hmm. When it gives off 7 colors, this is dispersion. When it gives off the colors, this is the dispersion, yes. An intruder alarm. It uses what? Intruder alarm uses infrared radiation. Yes, we know this. Intruder alarms use the infrared radiation. Tuning fork produces a sound when it vibrates. What is the effect on the sound produced when the tuning fork vibrates? Uh, more times every second with a larger amplitude. Again, okay, it produces what happens to the sound produced when it vibrates more times every second with a larger amplitude? Hmm. More times every second, what does this mean? That the frequency increases. Frequency increases. So the pitch increases, yes, a higher pitch. And when the when the amplitude increases, when the amplitude increases, what happens? It becomes louder. Yes, it does become louder. Unless you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, please. I know most of the questions are easy, but if there's any difficult question, please do not hesitate to ask. Which compass is wrong? Hmm. Which compass is pointing in the wrong direction? Hmm. Yes, it is C. C is wrong. C has to point to the opposite direction. C, this is the north and this is the south pole. Okay, it has to move from the north to the south. Yes. Has to. تمام. Hmm. We have 4 nails, A, B, and C, D. A, B, C, and D. Okay. Each nail is attached to the bar magnet. Okay, all of these nails are made of steel, which means that they will become a permanent magnet. But the question is, which nail becomes the strongest permanent magnet? Which nail becomes the strongest permanent magnet? If you look at the numbers, you would choose C. Why would you choose C? Why would you choose C? Because it has the most, okay, number of paper clips attached to it, even when you remove the bar magnet. That's the whole point of being a permanent magnet, that some of the pins or some of the paper clips will remain attached to it. So when you have the most number of clips still attached to it, this means that it will be the strongest permanent magnet. Hmm. Okay, C. Any questions? Hmm. Type. 29 is removed. 29 has been removed from the syllabus. Question 29 is cancelled. Hmm. Yeah. Question 30. 3 electrical quantities are listed. Which quantities are measured in volts? Which quantities are measured in volts? Hmm. Potential difference and electromotive force. Huh? Yes, potential difference and electromotive force only. Yeah. The voltmeter reading is 2.2 volts and the ammeter reading is 0.25 amperes. What is the resistance of each resistor? R equals V over I, 2.2 over 0.25. This is 8.8 ohms. Most of you would choose D, which is wrong. Why is D wrong? Because this is the resistance of both resistors together. So basically, each resistor would be 4.4 ohms. 8.8, you have to divide it by 2 to find 4.4. Hmm. Yep. Diagram shows a part of a circuit containing three identical lamps, at which 2 points do the currents have the same value. At which 2 points do the currents have the same value? Yeah. Hmm. Okay. B, yes, W and Z. Yes, this is correct. B. Okay. W had the most current, and then the current was divided, and then current again was added up at Z. So W and Z. W and Z. Hmm. Which circuit contains a thermistor and a heater? Thermistor and a heater. Hmm. This is not thermistor. This is not a thermistor. This is a thermistor. Yes, the thermistor and the heater. Hmm. Which fuse does the in which circuit does the fuse blow and both lamps go out? In which circuit does the fuse blow and both lamps go out? Okay. Hmm. D. This D is correct. In C, only one lamp will go out. In B, only one lamp will go out. In A, none of the lamps would go out. And actually, in A, it wouldn't even blow out. So it is D. Yes. Hmm. Any questions? Which circuit is there a direct current? Yalla. Which of these circuits has direct current? Hmm. Three. Uh, انت you're asking why wouldn't it blow up in A? Because in A no current will pass أصلا through the fuse. No current will pass through the fuse أصلا. Okay. Ah, question 35. Which circuits have a direct current? Three only is wrong. Actually, يعني three is a direct current, but three only is wrong. Three is a direct current. Two is not a direct. It's an AC. It's an alternating current. But one is that. Why is one a direct current? Why is one a direct current, يا شباب? Because the current is only in the positive side. Okay, it's changing. Okay, it's changing the value, but it's still positive. Okay, the current is still positive. Whenever the current is positive, okay, it hasn't changed to the negative. Okay, and for example, in two, it was alternating from one to negative one. That's why it's an alternate. It went to the negative side. In circuit one, it's only in the positive side, so it will be a direct current. So it is B, yes, one and three. Hmm. حلو. يلا, this question has been repeated too many times. What's transformer X and what is transformer Y? Hmm. Transformer X is has to be a step up transformer, and Y has to be a step down transformer. C. Yes. Hmm. A neutral atom. It has to have the same amount of protons as electrons. Okay, and the neutrons would be basically 56 minus 26, which is 30. So it is A. Yes. You have a ball of positive charge and some negatively charged electrons. This early model is different from the atomic model accepted today. Which statement about the early model is not included in the model accepted today? Which statement about the early, okay, model is not included in the model accepted today? Hmm. يلا, any ideas? Hmm. طيب let's um let's exclude the wrong answers, or actually the right answers. There are small particles called electrons. Well, this is accepted today. There are positive and negative charges. This is accepted today. The electrons are negatively charged. This is accepted today. So the only wrong answer would be that the atom is mainly filled with a ball of positive charge. Okay, it's not mainly filled. Actually, today we know for a fact that the atom is mainly filled up with empty space. The atom is mainly empty. It's mostly empty. Yes. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Um, a thin sheet of paper is spaced between a radioactive source and the radiation detector. The count rate falls to a very low reading. Falls to a very low reading when you put this sheet of paper in the middle. From this result, which type of radiation is the source emitting? Which type of radiation is the source emitting? It's quite easy. When you have a piece of paper, the piece of paper, it stops what? It stops only the alpha particles. Okay, quite easy. Hmm. Why should all radioactive materials be handled carefully? Why should they have, why should they be handled carefully? Uh, this is quite easy as well. They all emit ionizing radiation. The ionizing radiation is very harmful for us. Okay, it's dangerous. Okay.